my man got too familiar, and I ended up having to whip his ass, man, because, he would step across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
All right. So I'm about to start the intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the... What is that?
Fletcher, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm crawling through the woods
every time.
What are you doing?
Sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got it. Here we go. Right. True. Put cameras on. Yeah. So here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Habitual Line Steppers podcast, the HLS podcast, the HLS podcast. Late to the party, Radical Teddy and friends. To that point, name pending. I'm the Rebel Alliance.
I'm Scrotawola.
And I'm Electric Thunder.
Welcome. All right, where we leave off?
I just wanted to make sure that we was good.
Yeah, I mean, just making sure we're greeting folks before we really start talking, and then 20 minutes in, it's like, oh wait, we should have hit record.
No, I'm trying to make sure that we're good.
No, we're good. And to what I was saying is, I always make fun of like music when you hear people saying like, "Are we recording?" Because in a music studio, there's no ambiguity. Like, there's lights. Like, the engineer has to do a bunch of stuff. Usually, everybody's on the same page that you're recording. There's no sneakiness to it.
I'm pretty sure I won't be paying attention.
Nah, man. There's usually no ambiguity. So it's kind of like hilarious when folks are like, "Are we recording?" It's like, yeah, you know good and well y'all were recording. Mm-hmm. But here I'm not gonna lie, like Electric, you're sneaky with it, and I am continually caught off guard. But I love it.
Yeah, you know how I do.
You get all the boogers and naps. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm. All right, but are we good?
Because yeah, we're good. Go ahead. I don't know what you're talking about. I missed something.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Don't point at people in this.
Yeah, don't point at people. The orientation's different.
Oh yeah, true. No.
Yeah,
I talked to him.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So okay. I didn't even have to punish me. He was like, yeah, he hit me in the face. So I was like, you got your punishment already.
The face?
Yeah, he said he slapped him.
Oh, okay. It was a slap. Okay, it wasn't a fist.
Yeah. No.
Oh dear.
I don't know. A slap is kind of disrespectful, bro. He took it to another level.
I mean, also his vocabulary is not there.
Let's shut up.
I mean, at his age, he might have punched him, and he says slap me, and so whatever. But also, I know him, and he can take a punch, so whatever.
We've been talking about punches and slaps, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but we'll figure all that out. All right, well, as long as we're
he didn't say anything about getting you in the chest. So I was like, and did anything else happen? And he didn't say anything about that part. So
I didn't see it. She saw it. So
yeah, me either. Yeah.
So we were briefly talking about the whole baby trend, the whole baby AI thing.
Videos. Yeah.
And also, I don't really like it. Like, I did one for our podcast because, like, it's a trend, whatever, right?
And I wasn't even in it.
You weren't in it because I figured Electric needs to be in more of them. I haven't done a lot with Electric in it.
I mean, he should be in everything. But like,
why do y'all think it's weird?
Hold up, why wouldn't there be all three of us in stuff? I mean, to that point, there have been things where it's been just you and I, which still seems weird. But yeah, even if one of us is just there, like eating popcorn, watching the other two talk,
you haven't made one because getting 3 people in there is more work than getting 2 people.
Oh, okay. You're not wrong. Like, once I start doing this, I will completely change my perspective. To that point, even having kids, before I had kids, I used to hear folks like, their kids just wilding, and I'm like, yo, why your kid crying like that? Like, you're not gonna do anything about that? Like,
no,
I'm not a parent, but it seems like you're not doing this right. Now that I've had kids, I'm like, hey, do what you got to do. There was a mom the other day that like apologized because she was like reprimanding her daughter in front of me. I was like, I think go get her.
I was actually about to go do it.
I was like, you need help? Like, what's up? Like, I'll hold your stuff if you need to, Don't hold back on my account, dude. Parent the way you parent. So yeah,
I told my youngest
baby
I
trend
was
is weird.
ass in the middle of a HEB one time, and he thought I wasn't going to.
That's how we got it, you know.
He was wrong.
My mom was slick with it though. My mom used to lean over and whisper to my ear, "You know, you're getting a whooping when we get home."
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of the public appearance, I was very, very well behaved. And then we get home, and I think she forgot. And so then I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm good." She didn't forget.
Nope.
Yeah, that reminds me of a time.
Mhm.
I don't remember what I did, but I was always up to something. I did something to my mother where she chased me to my room and I hid under the bed, and she looked under the bed and she couldn't get to me. And I'm laughing at her. I am laughing my head off at her because I knew she couldn't reach me under the bed. And she goes, "Oh, you want to laugh? Okay." So she walks away. So I'm just going to chill here for the next 3 days. I think I'm fine.
36 years.
Yo, she comes back with a broomstick and she starts like jabbing me with the broomstick, yo. I was like, oh my God, this lady. Oh man.
Thought you were safe.
Yeah, I thought I got away with it, and I didn't.
In a non-traumatic, disturbing way, because I'm sure that would sound very disturbing to anybody who doesn't know. Like, she still loved him. She still loved him. Yeah. You were saying about this baby trend. It's weird.
Yeah. Why is it weird? Because I think we might all be on the same page with it.
There is an innocence to babies that when you personify them that way seems taken away. And that's just odd to me. I don't like it. Leave babies innocent.
I think I saw one with like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about some science stuff.
Yep.
And that was fine. I saw that our favorite scene in Sinners, which was cute, but it was like weird.
Yeah, that's real weird.
You know, I saw one, I forgot what it was, but like it was like an actual pimp. And I was like, no, that's not cool.
No, that's not okay. Yeah. You got to maintain the innocence.
You're saying you really like that either, yeah?
I don't think babies are cute, so I don't care to see them.
You?
I do not like the appearance of babies. And I don't like hearing them cry either. Like the sound is so piercing to my ears. Like it does something to my brain.
Well,
I can't.
Babies
handle
are
it.
cute. Not all babies are cute. The vast minority of babies are cute.
I don't find
babies are cute.
When babies hit the toddler stage, that's when I think they're cute. I think they're adorable when they're toddlers. But they're also demons too when they're toddlers. But, and when I say demons, I'm playing people. They're just, they're just little wild animals that do anything and everything they want to do. And if you get in the way of that, you will feel their fury. But I don't know, I see, there's that theory, right, where they say that babies are cute to kind of ward off predators. So, like, predators don't. So
you keep them.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. All right. That's what it was.
Yeah, this is for you.
All right.
It's like nature. Yeah, and same thing. You just said you don't like the sound of babies crying. That's on purpose. I assume that was so that you're triggered to protect the infant, like figure out what is wrong with this child and make it better so that it stops crying.
It's not supposed to be melodic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that verse finish real quick before I do something about it.
Now in the top 100 of the billboards, baby crying. It's like, no, it's not supposed to be pleasant.
Ear piercing. It's like, how are you this small, but you produce this frequency?
Yo,
explain.
Programmed diaphragm control. I don't know how they hit the notes they hit, but little kids too. I'm like, yo, your voice is gonna change, but it's a shame because like you just hit whistle register.
Yeah, but I hate listening to children sing. I can't stand it.
Oh
it's
no,
like,
I mean,
it's horrible.
It's impressive though. Like some of the notes, like little kids can hit. Like, yo, one of my kids' favorite songs is "Who's Loving You," the Jackson 5 edition. Because it's originally a different song. Most of their hits were covers.
Yeah.
But Lil Michael was singing like his riffs and runs on that song.
That's an
highly
exception.
Impressive.
It's not like no kid can sing well. There are definitely kids that can sing. But the kid accent that all kids have. I don't even know where this accent comes from. But like they sing with that kid accent. I'm like, yo, just stop.
Yeah. To that point, Kids Bop is weird. especially
Kid
because
Bop is
like
weird as hell, bro.
I know the songs they're singing, and I'm like, and I just heard them singing the F you and your mom, and you know that song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this. Oh, you haven't heard it? Go check it out. It's like
Oh.
ABCDEFU, and you. And I'm like, but of course they can't say FU in Kids Bop, so they say forget you. But it's like the rest of these lyrics clearly call out what this is edited from.
There's a kid named George Dalton, and he sings a bunch of like kid songs, and he sang Trap Queen by F.A.A.F.O. And in this video, they're making cakes in a kitchen. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. And the thing, and what's worse than the worst part about it is not about how they're like appropriating, we're talking about appropriation, not about like the fact that the subject matter is completely innocent. Even if they make like children's parallels, if you're looking at the video, you're gonna laugh. The worst part is, when Fetty goes, yeah, baby, like that part, the way he does that is criminal, and he should get arrested for that. I don't give a shit how old he is. He should go to jail forever. Put him under the jail. It's just like, oh.
No, what I'm really looking up is the original lyrics to Trap Queen.
Yeah, the song's not a good song.
But also, I'm like, yo, no matter. I mean, look,
It's catchy though.
I mean, there's just some songs that don't need to be like. I don't know what the verb to this would be. Kidized. So
Kidized. That's the verb.
Like,
see, what I always find funny is like this is kind of like going off of the conversation. Now, actually, let me stay on the conversation and I'll say that.
Speak.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. So, The Weeknd, they did a Kids Bop song with The Weeknd also, and I was listening to it. And I'm like, yo, how are they saying this? Like, this is what they're feeding the kids, yo. This is crazy.
Yo, just because you edit out the bad words, the subject matter is still there.
Yeah, I'm like, this is horrible. Like, they should take these people to jail.
It's because people don't listen to lyrics. That's part of why I got out of music. Because I'm like, yo, y'all don't pay attention.
I will tell you, I never paid attention to lyrics growing up. It was always the beat and the melody. That was it.
Exactly.
You know that song "Hot Nigga" by Bobby Shmurda?
Right.
Like, I listen to a lot of rap, and a lot of rap be talking about some bad stuff, right? There's no surprise. For some reason, that song I couldn't listen to that song. I'm like, this song is, I feel bad listening to this song. Like, because the lyrics stood out more than anything to me. And I'm just like, I don't know, for whatever reason. And then watching the video just made it worse. Just the amount of celebration of like, and how young this dude was. It was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable for me, and I found that very weird considering like I love Eminem. you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think there was a weird limit that I found.
I'm having technical difficulty. I'm gonna go off camera. Hey, there we go. So yeah, there are times where you hear, not to sound conspiracy theorist, but most of what gets popularized to us is that seem to hold us back. And so it's like when you see the product of like, hey, don't go get an education, do this crime instead. It's like, why are we glorifying that? So there are just times where it's like, hey, this wasn't even subtle. Like,
yeah, it felt like it was crossing it just felt too, I don't know, it just felt too much.
There's actually theories about why they allow certain content in music.
Yeah, it's the formula. It's whatever.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's like the prisons are owned by the same guys that own the music industry, and they're basically putting out music to influence people to commit crimes. And it's funny how people listen to it and don't realize that music influences people, especially young kids. You're growing up, you're creating a culture behind the music. And I mean, even growing up, I felt that. Sometimes I listen to music and I'm like, yo, I feel fucking thugged out right now. Let me go do some shit, and then I the song's over and I'm like, what the fuck was I just thinking? So,
Right.
imagine a young,
so
impressionable mind.
let's say it's not a conspiracy. Let's say it's instead just, your usual capitalistic profiteering. Hey, this song made money, so let's make another.
That's what it
Oh, I
is.
see this dude 50 cent sold however many, so give me like 12 50 cents, right?
Yep.
That sounds like I'm
$6.
gonna do math, but anyway, exactly.
One step ahead of you.
Exactly. But that's the formula, and that's why every time you see this artist, like when Amy Winehouse came out, suddenly there were like 5
Oh, they're all
Amy
horrible.
Winehouses, and right, exactly, and to that point, it's never as good as the original. Like there are a couple times, like I feel like even Amy Winehouse came out after Duffy, and so it's like, oh, this is the one time, like,
original. She's the one that popped though.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The sequel was better than the originals. So, and Joss Stone. Now, man, now that I think about it, man, like Winehouse was like third or fourth. So the point is, yes, you have these record execs that don't really know music. They're just copying the formula. Like, oh, this worked. Let's do the same thing. Let's everybody copy everybody. But it's like, yo, can we try some new stuff? No, we don't want to because we're scared. Like, we don't want to be the thing that failed. Like, how come you didn't get an Amy Winehouse? So I'm not even mad at it. It's just sometimes it's so across the line. Like, we're the habitual line steppers. It's like, yo, I get it. You think we only want to hear like thugged out rap, but man, don't be so overt with it. Like,
yeah,
at least make it good. Like,
it self-enforces
most of the time.
itself. It's a self-enforced stereotype.
Not that Bobby Shmurda wasn't good.
I mean, I didn't see it.
And one thing I know that we do have music getting like pushed and shoved down our throats, because I get into the car every day, and I noticed this since like for the past 2 weeks. Every time I turn on my car, there's this one artist, and she is always on. I'm like, yo, how
you talking about GloRilla?
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what you talking about.
Yes. Yes. I'm like, yo, this is
I didn't even know who he was talking about.
Get him, Glow.
Yeah, Glow.
Oh my, but every time I get in my car, it's like that's the song that comes on, and I'm just like, this is crazy. They're really pushing
exactly
her.
who you're talking about.
I like GloRilla.
You do?
Yeah, I don't really know her music like that though. I only know
That's
the
why
little bits
you
that I
said
hear, like,
that.
yeah, of course. I haven't been because if I actually, like, to his point, paid attention, it would be content overload. But there's so much content now that I only get little bits and pieces. So in little bits and pieces, I like GloRilla. Apparently, she's Cardi B's cousin. So I was like,
So here's kind of where I am with GloRilla, right? I'm with her. I can't stand it. But I think GloRilla, to me, is going to be a person I end up liking, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. She's having her little good time. I'm not going to hate on it. And she's kind of like,
good for her.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to hate on it. Do your thing. And like her, like, yeah, she's just, yeah.
I don't know. Me personally, I feel like she has the underdog vibe.
Yeah, I see that.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
in theory, she has everything against her, but she's making it work. And so props to you.
Well, she had everything against her.
I mean, she ain't from, New York or LA or, she got the Southern accent. She got the...
Aren't we past that, though? I mean, think about it. Like, it's been over 20 years that people all over the South have been getting famous. Like Atlanta.
Only if you're from Atlanta.
Only if you're from Atlanta, not Houston? Come on.
No, Virginia? Man, yo, Houston is disproportionately still, like, not represented. We got Beyonce. We got Megan Thee Stallion.
No, don't you guys have UGK?
Yeah, but that was like
that's Port Arthur, but still
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna count it.
As but we
even
all
still,
like we all count it.
Yeah, exactly. We all count it. And to that point, I wouldn't say like, oh, they're in their prime. Like, no, their heyday was.
I mean, Pimp C did.
At the, yeah. I can't.
Why
You can't
are we
say
even
they're
laughing
in their
about
prime
that?
because he
It's okay
called
to
out the
laugh
fact
at
that I'm
that.
like, I'm not saying because I'm like, I can't say they're in their prime. He's like, I mean, dude is literally dead. So yeah, it's not like they're having their moment now. That oh yeah. So my point being, it's not like we have representation from Houston proportionate to the size of city that we are, and that's why I was like, well, for GloRilla, I believe is from Memphis. There's New York, usually L.A., Atlanta. If you're from Tennessee, you usually have to hustle to get on, or people just don't realize you're from Tennessee, like a Justin Timberlake or your Chris Browns, your Trey Songz. I'm trying to think of all the other Tennessee folks.
Yeah.
And then like the acts like 3-6 and whatnot. So
yeah, it's funny you made that sound effect because when he said Trey Songz, that's the sound effect that went off in my head.
Of course.
yeah. But that's the thing, like, usually you're from Tennessee and folks just don't realize you're from Tennessee.
GloRilla.
Or you're in country music and then you move there from Los Angeles or New York or wherever. Or somehow you're Keith Urban. That's a country act from Australia.
She's one of them people that look different, like Sierra, every single time I see her.
Facts.
She looks completely different every time I see her. Is that just me?
No, you were absolutely. It took me like 6 interviews before I was like, oh, that's GloRilla. And even now, if I see her like somewhere else, I'd be like,
I've seen her in an interview before. I just Googled her now. I've seen her in an interview. She has a cool vibe.
Right.
I remember.
So that's what I'm like.
I was like, oh,
that's
she
what's
looks like she's
charming
cool.
about her.
Yeah.
The music is trash, but she's kind of charming.
I hate
You
that,
like the
man.
person.
Like the music has to be so trash, but like, yeah, for me, she didn't seem like the type of woman that would sing when she was, rap when she was rapping. Like she actually seemed really cool when I saw the interview. I was like, who is this chick? Damn, man.
I mean, the way.
I guess she got to make sales, right? So
But I don't think she's not like Sexy Red. Like I don't put them in the same like.
No.
At least vibe wise, if we everybody talking about vibes and stuff, they're not. They don't
Sexy
similar
Red.
Was.
Although a lot of people view her as ratchet. She actually looks like she's cool too. Like I've seen a few interviews with her, and I was like, oh, she looked like she's real laid back and cool.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't think of her in the same way that I think of a Sexy Red. Like, and to that point, I think over time we're gonna see GloRilla have longevity beyond a Sexy Red, but
she feels like she has have a little bit more longevity. Not by much though.
yeah. But to that point, I respect the business. I respect the hustle. May not always appreciate the product, but
But do we have to respect it?
No.
The product.
I notice people say that a lot. People be like, "Oh yeah, but I respect it," and it's like, do you have to though? Like, you don't have to respect it.
Respect the hustle. You don't have to respect. The
Oh
hustle.
People say I respect everybody's point of view. I'm like, I don't.
No.
No.
Everybody can be
opinion. I absolutely don't. Another one that gets me when people say, "I don't judge my friends." I'm like, excuse me.
Nah,
I'm like, bitch, if you don't judge me, we ain't friends. You better judge the hell out of me. If you're not judging me, how am I supposed to know when I'm messing up?
Story.
I correct. Like, yo, if I don't correct you, I don't care about you. Because part of the reason I correct my friends is because I don't want you going out in front of somebody else that is going to judge you saying the wrong thing. So I'm going to help you say the right thing to start with. And then if maybe you just didn't know better. Once you know better and then you still say the wrong thing, okay, that was a choice. But at least I gave you the tools to say the right thing. Because I care about you. If I don't care about you, I'm going to let you just sound how God originally.
Like, I need you as my friend to be ready to be like, you know what? Fuck Uchenna. I'm not talking to that dude anymore. Because, like, I'm not listening to you tell me, like, you messing up. When you judging me and I'm not listening to you, I need you to be like, I'm not talking to this dude no more. That's what I require of my friends. If you're not gonna do that, then we ain't friends. Period.
Mm-hmm. You don't care.
Man, you know how many times people got mad at me in my life just for me doing that shit, for talking my shit when they're fucking up. You know, people fucking hate my guts for that shit.
Here you are caring about them.
Yeah.
If this was the zombie movie or the vampire movie, you telling them, hey, don't go out that door. And they're like, man, you just trying to hold me back. Yes, from getting bit. Don't go out that door.
Yeah. I mean, eventually those people usually
go outside and get bit.
After they get bit, they be like, hey, you was right. You know, some people are embarrassed and got egos, so they'll never come back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I'm glad to know that like I've never like had an opportunity to say something, didn't say it, and I felt bad about it. Like, granted, sometimes it's hard, depending on who that person is and what you know about them, how they'll take that criticism. It's gonna be hard for you to like, you know, buck up and actually tell that person the shit that they need to hear. I have to tell them at some way, shape, or form. And more than likely, the closer I am to you, the less sugar-coated it's gonna be. That don't mean I'm gonna do it disrespectfully. Oh. I'm just gonna have to be like, yo, boom, boom, like New York, boom, 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 you know?
And if they're really your friend, they will respect you for telling it. They might even be mad, but how come you didn't tell me sooner?
California.
I've never gotten that reaction. How come you didn't tell? Like, people find it disrespectful, right? And that's not the intention. But also, like, the way I speak to, I'm a little brusque in the way I deliver things. So, and I don't know what it is. It might be my tone or how I say it.
Brusque?
Yeah. Is that the right word?
I don't know. I just learned something today, probably. Hold on.
It's BRUSQUE, I think.
Yes, it is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. I know how to write. I just can't talk. I'm a good. I can write way better than I can talk. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway,
I just learned a new word today.
Me can't talk, but trying to do a podcast. Look at me.
You see, I didn't say nothing because you were right. So keep it going.
I've never heard that word before. I was like, oh, but you used it. You used it with like such confidence. I'm like, that's a word I have never heard before.
Because he was right.
Yeah.
Like,
right,
that's how I knew he was right. That's how I knew. I was like, oh.
No, come on now.
Yo.
You know good and well, I will say the wrong thing confidently.
That reminds me of there was a reel I saw during COVID, and I showed it to Brent, and Brent told me this. He goes to me, "Oh, don't believe everything that guy says. I mean, anybody could sound believable as long as they sound confident enough." And that's exactly what Brent's talking about right now.
It's called impromptu extemporaneous speaking. I am great at it.
Oh man.
Yep.
You know what's funny? I need to learn that because a lot of times, like, I feel like I don't sound confident even though I know what I'm talking about.
Nah, man, you got to be confident. If you know, I tell people like if you were to do a speech on like how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like, there's literally no reason to be worried about it. You shouldn't fumble the speech. You shouldn't mess up your words. You shouldn't like get locked because it's like, dude, like it's like you know how to do this like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
And so as long as I keep telling myself, like, as long as I know what I'm talking about, I shouldn't be worried about anything. I can speak confidently about it. The only time I'm not gonna be confident is if I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. In which case I probably wouldn't be speaking, you know, or unless I need to, you know, lie to get somewhere. But you know, it's different.
We never do that.
I mean, it's like when you're going into a place that you're not supposed to be. You're never supposed to look around. You're supposed to just walk straight,
confidently.
Just straight, confidently. Just find a path and walk that way. And if you mess up, that's fine. Just like wait a little bit and then do it again. Because if you hesitate in like the decision making with the turns, people are like, "Oh, you don't belong here."
Isn't it concerning how many places can be penetrated by a confident walk?
So in college, I used to work for TLSV, Tough Sliding Sound and Video. Hey, and sometimes there would be like conferences or concerts that you have to like pay to get into. And I would put on my black shirt, go to the little place where we put all our like sound lighting and audio equipment, grab an XLR cable, just wrap it up in a circle or whatever, and then just walk into the venue. Just walk in. When I get in, I would take off the shirt. I would take off my little black polo shirt and have whatever I was wearing on underneath it. I'd roll up the XLR cable in the shirt and I put it in the corner.
I have a question.
And I got into so many things like that.
Did you happen to pop a Mentos before you did that?
No, only because I wasn't with a friend. If I was with a friend and we couldn't get in, I'd look at him and say, I'll be right back. And then I would have popped the Mentos looking at his ass outside of the concert. But I just did it by myself most of the time.
A lot of times when you do stuff like that, you can't do it with a friend. The friend always fucks it up, man.
But that's what the Mentos commercials are about.
Yeah.
It's about, yo, there's an obstacle in life. Fuck that. I'm about to do that anyway.
We can all learn something from a Mentos commercial.
Mentos, yeah.
But confidently commit
GLSV. But that's called social compliance. And there's a show that I used to watch called The Real Hustle. I think so you can still catch it on YouTube or whatever. And I got into the show because, again, I kind of do a little bit of magic here and there. And most like crooks and conmens are literal magicians, or like actual magicians. And the show was one of the hosts of the show, his dad was like in prison for a long time because he was a con man and a thief, but like a magician by practice, and he taught him a lot of stuff. And the show is all about how to hustle people and rob people using like things like social compliance and stuff like that, you know? Like one of the things was there was this girl, so it's two guys, two magicians, and then like just a regular confident woman who's like pretty or whatever. And the amount of shit she can get away with is insane. She like went to a restaurant, put on like a black turtleneck and a black pants, and she would clear tables. And she would clear tables and just take tips off tables. And she went to like high-end restaurants, and then she would just leave with like $300-$400. And then they give the money back to the people at the end. But like, it's crazy, like what social compliance we were like conditioned to. And it's supposed to be like a flaw in like human like civilization, but it's like actually like one of the things that makes it work. It's like required. But you know, real hustlers and stuff like that, they take advantage. They take advantage of stuff like that.
I think we're on our 6th tangent at this point. I mean, it's the journey. It's a yellow brick road of discourse.
How long have we been on for?
35 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't understand. You were about to say something, and then we started talking about the baby AI.
No, I understand.
And then we went somewhere, and then after somewhere we went to GloRilla, then we went to correcting folks, and we went to confidently committing crimes. But now we're back to.
I keep track of it.
All right, I'm just making sure. Like,
I know,
because I feel bad because I know I kicked off the ADD as always. I'm just trying to get us back to the original topic.
And Brett, you did a really good job in recapping everything we just spoke about. That was really good.
I've been ADD for a long time.
You keep track of stuff like that. It's just a thing that happens. I'm like, no, I'm not lost.
Yeah.
And you know what it is, Electric? A lot of times it's the fact that I know that I can just overtake and dominate a conversation. So I'm trying to keep track for the other person so that I don't like go full udda, you know?
Yeah. Also, it's my curiosity. Go ahead.
What I was going to say earlier goes back to what you were just saying. When you two are going at it, the two of you know how to jump in at the right time. And I'm here trying to play double dutch sometimes, and you guys are both the rope. And I just keep hesitating. Until the point where I just got to interrupt you.
Oh, that visual. Oh,
I think that's just what we do. I think we just interrupt each other.
Yeah. The first gap of silence.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, go! F.A.A.F.O. Yeah, you know?
Well, to that point, the thing, if you notice, to that point actually is my jumping in the double dutch. Even though sometimes I'm too at that pointing myself, which is its own thing. Right? The reason I keep track of the tangents is because of my curiosity, though, because I know I took us out of where we were going to, whatever topic we were going to say. But yeah, then also, I really wanted to know what you were going to say. You know, I was on the edge. It's just, oh, before we get to that thing, let me just make sure I check off this one thing. But now let's go back to what were you going to say? Because we never got to it.
There's an artist called Le Tyler.
Who, me?
L-U-H. Tyler.
Don't even get
Okay. So what we were talking about, right, was my son, great kid. Since he was a little kid, he's always taken more than he's supposed to. He's nice. He wants everybody to be happy. He wants everybody to, you know, get along. And sometimes he'll diminish himself for the betterment of somebody else. And he thinks that's like noble. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. But he's always had the ability to, like, when things get past the line, he never starts a problem, but he almost always finishes it. And I'm trying to get him to the point where it's like, yo, you don't have to like enact such swift justice all the time if you just like lay down the law earlier, you know? Not referring to anything about today. This is something that, so for the last couple of weeks, like there's been people who've been messing with him in school all year, and he's been kind of just been letting it slide. Cause like I'm not trying to pop off on these kids. And like the last week of school, he suplexed and everyone said, like the teachers and people described as he grabbed him, picked him up, and then just ran him over. I'm like, did he like? And the way they describe him, I'm like, yo, this. I said, did you pick him up off his feet? Like he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, he suplexed.
Ran him over.
Like he picked him up and then moved forward so that it's almost like a belly to belly, but like you fall on, you know. But you have to pick the person up to get it done. And then the other person he grabbed from the back, so he like belly to backed him. And kid was like, German, you know. And so I'm like, okay, look, and my son's just like me. He's a happy-go-lucky, you know, cantankerous, ostentatious little people just bouncing all over the walls, right? That's how I was too. When I left Shadowbriar Middle School on the west side of Houston, Texas, the nice side, and we moved to where, you know, I grew up most of my life on the southwest. I went to Fondra Middle School, and that school was rough. It was really, really rough. That school was rougher than my high school, okay? Being loud and giggly and silly and stuff made you a target, and I got bullied quite a bit. I'm talking about like daily trash can dumps. Daily. Take my shoes, I have to find them in the school before the day ends, and I had to go to school with no shoes, right? And regularly jumped. And eventually I learned how to like shut up, keep my mouth shut, don't make myself a target, but also like how to like stand my ground. And, you know, I don't really know how to say this, but I didn't really have a way to like, I didn't know how to teach certain like qualities, black qualities that you just have in you that like, you know, hey, don't do that shit one more time, see what happens. That kind of like sauce, you know? Mm-hmm. I had to learn that at Fondra because I literally had to learn it. Otherwise, I had no choice, you know?
Yeah, nowadays they call it crashing out.
I'm not worried. No, it's not crashing out. I was like, yo, I don't make threats. I make promises. You know what I'm saying? Right. So my son, I'm not worried about him like protecting himself. Like he got that part down, but like, how do you have that? I call it BBE, big boy energy, because, you know, we don't want to be inappropriate. Right. But how do you get that? How do you teach that? And I don't know how to teach that unless you put them in that environment. And I'm not doing that. That's antithetical to like what we here for. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we all have sons. So I was trying to ask, like, how do you do that?
I don't know, because I had the exact opposite thing happen.
That's true.
This boy was born into the softest neighborhood in New York.
This is what Electric was saying.
And somehow is straight BX. Like,
some people are just born with it, man.
Electric was saying some people are just absolutely just born with it. I'm like,
yo, he was completely born with it, man. And it's interesting being on the other end of like, because usually, yes, as a parent, you're like, oh, you have to teach them to like stand up. If somebody's bullying you, like you have to teach them how to stand up for themselves. So like, I feel weird when other parents hear me telling him like, hey, just let it go. Just let it slide. It's like, because you don't know. I'm telling him let it slide all the time, because if I don't, he's ready to enact
He's ready to
justice.
slide.
But it ain't like, yo, you're too young to throw it all away yet. You know what I mean? Because like, I get it. Like, there's that moment. Like, each of us have that thing where it's like, hey, you know, this is the thing. You remember that movie Falling Down? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
That's me every other weekend.
Yes, I know this movie. Yes.
And to that
Christopher
point,
Douglas, Michael Douglas.
Yeah, Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, yep. He has he looks like an accountant, and he has the crew cut and everything. And to that point, I don't fully remember the movie, but I remember the thing that pushed him over the edge wasn't that big a deal. That that you really felt like, hey man, you don't have to throw it all away. Like, you could just quit that job, or maybe they fired him or something like that. But we'll look it up. We'll figure it out. But to that point, young man hasn't hit that point where like, oh yeah, this is the last straw. I was like, bro, that was the 12th straw. Like, you got so many more straws to go before you throw it all away. So it's interesting being on the other end of, and like we were talking about earlier, like parent, I don't want to say guilt, but your conscience about what other people are hearing and how you parent. And so I'm conscious of hearing other people, or of other people hearing me tell him, like, essentially, not to be a punk, but like, hey, if somebody pushes you or hits you, let it slide, or go tell the teacher, like, hey, this ain't your thing to handle, because I know when I'm not there, when he's an adult, he's already going to have enough of, oh, we about to go. We about to handle this. Like, I know he won't be a punk when he's older. But it's like, hey, every situation ain't the situation to throw it away on.
Yeah.
And I don't, and there's so many people that have probably been in, they're maybe in jail or dead right now because they chose the wrong situation to throw it all away over.
Well, I think that's speaking towards the same thing that I'm talking about.
Great opportunity to throw your life away.
Because I think that's speaking to the same thing I'm talking about. Because like I was telling Electric, I think that's when you came back. I said I was really wondering about this like years before I had a kid. Like, if I have a kid, son, daughter, how am I going to teach them? Like, what if the kid's a little punk, and
right.
Some kids are little punks, and you can't say, "Hey, get up and don't be a punk," because that kid is literally it's a little punk. So how do you teach them how to not? Yeah, it's like, I can't do that, Dad. I'm a punk. So you have to like teach them how to not do that. So I was like, I always was conflating not being a punk and standing up for yourself by being able to like scrap and fight and know when to do that. But here I am. I have a son who does know how to throw down.
Right.
But the fighting part's not the concerns. Literally the best in the nation. The fighting part is not the concern. It's it's the sauce is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you have them with that energy where it's like, I don't know how to describe it. We gotta have to bleep this out. Hold on, we got to bleep this out. But like,
no. I know what you're saying, because it's not self-confidence. It's expressing confidence almost as a threat. Not a threat, but a promise. It's like,
yeah,
I need you to understand my capabilities. You know what I mean?
And what you're doing, you might not want to do if you just think about it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
So
like this is not a road that neither one of us want to go down. So you should probably shut the fuck up.
Right. And usually it's a thing of muscles. Like, the audience may not know, Electric has muscles.
All of them.
And so, all the muscles. And to that point, those muscles are a statement in and of themselves.
Yes, very much so.
Right? Same thing. There are some people where it's like, oh, that person is clearly crazy.
Yeah.
And that craziness manifests and thus makes statements in its craziness.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other people where if you haven't seen the muscles and you haven't seen the craziness, you would assume there's a sanity, and sometimes even beyond sanity, just punkishness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
You keep going because you're hitting it right on the head. Keep going.
Where and how is your question? Do you teach someone
To show them
the confidence?
Yeah.
that
How
you
do I
have in your-
how do I
Yeah,
teach
exactly.
my son to show people what will happen if they keep on? Because it's going to happen if they keep testing them. But how does he put that on display?
Right. Like the movies. Every time you watch the movies that we've all grown up watching martial arts movies. And there's always that moment in the martial arts movie, because we as the audience need to see this, where somebody picks on the protagonist. And you as the audience like, man, you shouldn't be doing
Don't
that.
do that.
But in the antagonist, defense, they didn't know any better, right?
Mm.
They're, in theory, they're the protagonist in their own movie, just being a jerk. So, yeah, your question is, how does someone do that?
Have that aura.
That's a very fine line.
Yeah.
Because it depends, right? So first you gotta help build them up, right? Like say if someone's getting bullied, you gotta build them up first.
Yeah.
First of all, you gotta train them. So that way they know that they're physically capable, regardless of their weight or size, that they have some sort of technical skill that can dismantle their opponent. But then the fine line is where I feel like the environment also takes into effect, like whether somebody's hard or not, right? Like some people are just born with it and some are just born without it. Some people are just so, and I don't want to say soft. I wish I could think of another word.
It's fine. Soft's
Yeah.
good.
But some people are soft, and when I say they're soft, like I know some people that are soft and I don't think it's totally a bad thing. There are some guys that have talked to me and I see that they're soft and I'm just like, get the fuck away from me. But there are some people that are soft and I'm just like, if anybody ever fucked with you, I'll take the fight for you, but some people are just not built for it, regardless
I'm not.
of how much training they might have, but I think I might actually be wrong on that, but I think it starts with training. Then the second thing is like the environment. Like if you got to put people through a tough environment. I mean, any kind of stress makes you stronger, but then the fine line comes where if it's too much stress, it can break you. And when I say it can break you, like through trauma. So now you have somebody that's just a loose cannon after that.
Yeah.
Either they get stronger or they become worse, where they're traumatized and they're more fearful, or they become so traumatized that everything triggers them now. And now they're ready to go with anybody, and we see that a lot.
Yeah.
In the hood. And, there's a lot of people walking around with that kind of trauma. Like you grew up in a
community full of people.
Yeah.
that walk around like that.
Yeah. It's such a fine line. And I think it all just starts with training and trying to build that person's self-confidence up to defend themselves if they needed to.
I think you hit, and by you I'm saying it's Juju, that earlier you were saying, like in words, hey man, you don't want to do this. And even certain statements, like there are certain things where if somebody does something and the reaction is not the norm, it does raise eyebrows. For instance, if you slap somebody and they start smiling, I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
Like,
that's not good, bro.
Like, for instance, we've all seen that thing where it's like, somebody gets hit and they're like, harder. You're like, wait, what? It's like, Because the next question I kind of wanted to ask after you were asking this is same thing. Once a fight starts, how do you teach someone when to stop a fight?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
I know the answer to that question.
Yes, but that's the logical answer, because some people don't know. And again, some people are dead and some people are in jail because they didn't know that answer.
Yeah, there's two answers. There's the logical answer, and then I think so. You're supposed to stop the fight when you've won. That's what I believe. You're supposed to stop the fight when you've won, and when you've won based off your training in pugilism. So most
based off your training
sports,
in what?
And pugilism, like combat sports, right? Most combat sports, when you've won, they will stop the fight because they're not just going to let you go on forever, right? And so you're trained to see and know what the end of a fight looks like, right? And so first, so you need to know when a fight is won, right? But knowing when a fight is won, that's the first part. Knowing when you need to calm your emotions, this fight is over, bro. Because once the fight's over and you keep fighting, that's when you start probably going into like, that's when you're definitely going into like lawsuit and criminality. Like,
of course,
you know, so you definitely, I mean, if you're fighting to begin with, you're in that zone, but like you're definitely there if you keep fighting when the fight's over. So I think a lot of that goes into maturity and exposure to fighting, right? I grew up and I got hardened by the many times I got jumped and got into fights. But I could have equally gotten that from being in combat sports, I think. Because yeah, I got hit with full power punches much more often than what had I been in combat sports. But the thing that you learn from martial arts is that, like, yeah, even though we're kind of sparring and going light, you kind of get awareness that, like, yo, this could absolutely be way worse than this. The thought is in your head more frequently. I often tell people, every single person, and I believe this with my heart is hearts, every single person at some point in time in their life, probably before the age of 30, that's the new caveat I'm putting on it, before the age of 25, she got punched in the face so hard that their teeth and their gums hurt for like a day, just one time. Because you will learn a lot about yourself when you're getting hit that much, because a lot of people walk around this earth like that's not a possibility. And the amount of humility that goes through you when that happens, it's important, I think, development, like character development. I'm going off a little tangent myself, but like I think that's when you stop the fight when the fight's over. And the only way
you know you've gone too far when you know you've gone too far when you lose the audience, though. Like,
yes.
Like, I got sucker punched once, right? If I hit dude back one time, cool. But like, if it's to the point where I'm hitting dude, like I'm just standing over dude wailing on him, clearly the audience is going to be like, "Hey, man, you gone too far." I think even, I'm not sure that people will keep count of punches in that, but I would say that's part of where it comes from. It's like, oh, this kid hit you. You hit him back. All right, y'all are even, right? He's like, well, he hit me twice. It's like, okay, well, you hit him back how many? You hit him back once. He's like, all right, fine. Let it go. It's understandable.
You're done.
Yeah, exactly. You're done. That in that realm, in that like, they call it degree of significance, is where you have to let it go. Because anything beyond that, once you get past like quote unquote reasonable retribution, then it's like psychosis. It's like, hey, you're doing too much. You're the bad guy now.
This reminds me of the videos I used to watch. I used to watch a lot of fight videos, and I remember seeing like the fight videos in schools. And there'll always be like one kid that doesn't want to fight, and then the other kid that does. And the other kid is just doing it just to get clout. Like he wants to get an ass whooping on his belt, so that way like he gets some sort of respect in school. I used to hate those videos, man. And you see the other kid is like, no, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. Like I don't want to fight you. And then the kid just ends up beating the hell out of that kid. Those videos used to, I used to feel so bad for the kid that didn't want to fight.
Yeah, there's a scene in God of War 3. So anyone who hasn't played God of War 3, I'm about to spoil the game's like 20 years old. Anyway,
but did they put it in
God of War series for the rolled up God of War? Huh?
I said, did they put it in the rolled up God of War?
No, this has nothing to do with the ones that you guys still haven't played.
All right, cool, good.
But basically the series is about this demigod named Kratos who gets screwed over by the Olympians. And if you know anything about like Greek mythology, the Olympians are horrible people. They're just the worst. And they screw this guy up so royally over and over and over again that he keeps on getting angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier. That he is like, it's like kind of like a power fantasy, right? He's just destroying people, dismembering people, and you're controlling all this stuff. You're like, yay, blood, gore, violence. And by the third installment of this game, you've gotten so desensitized to the blood and the gore and the violence, and you hate Zeus. Like, you really hate him, right? And then you find out that he's like your dad, which is, like not a cliche, but like that's actually where the, oh, you're my dad cliche like kind of comes from. Because Zeus is terrible. Anyway, you get to the end and you beat up Zeus, which is the thing you've been trying to do for 3 games over the course of like 4 years, okay? And you're pressing circle to punch Zeus, right? So in the last sequence you run, you like tackle Zeus and it says press circle to punch him. And you punch him and it keeps telling you to press circle. And you keep punching him and you keep punching him. And then like blood starts flying off of his face and his face like just it turns into mush. And it keeps telling you to press circle. And then blood just fills the entire screen. And the screen is completely red and covered in blood. But it keeps telling you to press circle. And so you're pressing circle and you realize, why am I punching this guy so much? Like he's dead. And then you realize that the fight's over. And I'm just mad at this point. And so you stop pressing it. And once you stop fighting him is when you realize that like violence, like, yeah, you killed him, but like vengeance is like empty. And like that's kind of the whole point of the whole thing, right? So you feel really bad when this happens. And I think like it reminds me of that. Like you could have stopped punching him like 10 minutes ago, but you decided to keep going on because you're just like, yeah. That just reminds me of that. Like the fight's over when it's over, but if you let your emotions take place, then that's when you start venturing to really dark, really dark territory.
Out of curiosity, I wonder how long they program that sequence.
It's indefinite.
Like exactly. Like is there a moment where it's like, yo, your controller ran out of battery? It's like you might need to see somebody.
That's probably the limit. Your controller running out of batteries.
Yeah. But yeah, vengeance is hollow. And going back to the question, how do you teach that? I don't even want to say like, how do you teach people to fear you? I don't know. Ask Batman.
And I'm looking at Batman online right now.
Right?
I mean, that's the word for the thing that you described so well.
Intimidation. Because it's not intimidation. Because intimidation would be unprovoked. But this is an understand. It's not offensive. Intimidation in theory would be like, oh, like let me stand off from this person even without a trigger. It's a respect. So like how do you instill respect in others for your capabilities?
Probably still counts as intimidation. Because you can kick in the door, but like you can kick in the door and just throw your thing out on the table, and that's intimidating. And you started that action. You know what I mean? Like one of the things that my son he's on a soccer team, and all these little kids are like they're little shits because that's what they are, right? And some of the kids be like, "Oh, you're always messing up," and I'm like, "Bro, don't let these kids talk about your soccer game because I've seen them play." So he's like, "What should I say?" And I'm like, he needs to know like what to say. And I'm like, say like, don't worry about me. Worry about actually being able to dribble past, like 5 feet. Just start going back and forth at him and just like. And that's what he said. And he said it. I'm like, dude, that has no sauce on it. There's just none. It's just empty. So he asked me like, hey, this summer, can we have like a roasting camp? And I was like, you came to the right person. So I think basically just finding ways to boost confidence in a lot of different factors. Like, okay, so I think if you're confident in your ability to be a verbal assassin, that's one way, right? Then you got to be confident in your physical capability. Okay. I think you have to be confident in and this kind of goes to your physical capability, but like I believe you have to be able to destroy something, but you have to be able to build something back up. So you have to be strong, like mentally and physically, but also not to like just destroy people, but also to like be a strong leader. So build their leadership qualities up. And then you have to like give them the venue to practice doing those things. So it's just second nature. I think the hood is like a melting pot. A pressure cooker for learning all these things because you don't have time or choice if you're going to learn it or not. But otherwise, like living where I'm living with all this privilege, it costs $400 a week. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where I've ended up as far as like how to teach these. So I'm actually looking to put my boys in wrestling because wrestling, you ain't got no damn choice. In wrestling, you literally have to, because wrestling is like the objective of wrestling is to take somebody put them in a place that they don't want to be against their will, basically. Don't move, stay right here. And on the opposite side, your job is to like not let anyone put you where you don't want to be. And so I think the mentality there kind of aligns with some of these goals. But I was always wondering what you guys thought, because it's something that I've been thinking about since before I had kids. And I'm actually at this point right now where my kids have all this confidence in certain areas, but they still don't have that ability to put it on display at the beginning, like Prince.
Yeah. The reason why I was hesitant to say intimidating is because, all right, being a nerd, I looked up the actual word, and yes, intimidating means to make timid, and timid is fearful. So it's like you're not causing fear in other people, but it's more of commanding, authoritative. That like, how do you feel about a commander or someone of authority or respect? Like, for instance, like, I can't even say a president anymore. It's like, but going back to let's use Obama, because Obama, he's not a physically domineering dude.
Do we have to? Okay, I think that's good. Okay,
you know what I mean? He's not a physically domineering dude, but
yeah,
you respect his
Authoritative
manner, right? When he was president, you would respect his authority. And even beyond a president or any other, how do you define that quality of respecting someone's authority? That not commandeering, or in your point of wrestling, once that person has the situation under control, it doesn't mean, has it necessarily taken away other people's power? Because I can respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's like if you think of it like a dog catcher, right? Dog catcher catches a pit bull. It's like, hey, I have this pit bull right now. I mean, I don't want to use pit bulls because not all pits.
I have this feral hound.
Right. I respect its authority. We caged the tiger. That tiger's still a tiger. Mm-hmm. The moment I let go of this tiger, we in trouble, right? So I respect this tiger's capabilities. At the same time, this tiger right now is under our control. That doesn't make the tiger any less tiger. It's just temporarily not able to go full tiger on us.
Full tiger yet. Yeah. So I mean? in order to defeat an opponent, you have to respect them. You have to respect their capability. And so I mean, like, I think to like completely defeat, you have to be able to like respect what they can and can't do to be able to neutralize it properly. So like, I feel that.
And thus, how do are we teaching him to be the tiger, or are we teaching him to be the cage?
I lost you a bit on that one.
Okay.
It wasn't just me.
All right. Because the tiger will respect the cage from now on, because the cage stopped the tiger from being able to be full tiger. So just like a bully. The bully knows, okay, I can't bully your son because he will stop me from going full bully.
Okay, so wouldn't it be more so that the dog catcher is the one that, not the cage itself?
Right, but because the cage is a tool, the dog catcher, whatever tool he uses. But same thing, I guess that's why the dogs would fear the dog catchers, because
it's both. It's got to be both. It's got to be both, right? Again, one of the things that you learn in martial arts is you learn that, like, I don't believe that martial arts is self-defense. That's bullshit. Martial arts is self-offense, not self-defense. When you roll your hands up and you punch somebody, that's offense. It's not defense.
Yeah.
All right. If you're just kind of grabbing them and holding
came across his cheek.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There was no reason for my foot to meet his cheek.
One of the things you learn is that, like, I love it because a lot of times those floors self-police themselves. You might be the baddest person there, but somebody's badder. And I was at a gym once, and like one person was kind of full of this. I was whooping everybody's ass. They were clearly the best person in the gym. The coach got tired of their ego. I was like, all right, cool. You're going around with every single person here today twice. And even the worst person was lighting this person up at some point in time. Now, they were scared because, like, on Tuesday, I'm probably going to get my ass by this guy. But, like, it's self-regulating. So you have to be the hammer. You have to be the hammer. You have to be a good hammer and a good nail. Okay, so you guys have experience raising girls, right?
Yeah.
I don't. I have two boys. How does that change when it comes to raising a girl? And I'll ask this question real quick because I think largely the answer to that question is dependent on how you believe girls or women should be socialized in our society. I would like to believe that I'd probably at least teach the same principles to my daughter if I had one, right? Maybe I would teach it differently, but like I'm wondering how does that change with girls? Because I don't know.
It didn't change for me. I taught her the same thing that I taught my son.
Yeah.
And I would teach my son how to use his hands. I taught her how to use her hands. So.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I taught her how to throw punches and everything first. And I taught her as much Taekwondo as I know. I will also say though. Yeah, I will also say though, I taught her confidence in herself as best I could by continually pointing out ways that she succeeded even without us telling her how to succeed. So there were things that she would do and she would get right and I'd be like, look, you did that all by yourself. I didn't teach you that. So she started to realize like, oh yeah, like I did do that. That was my method of teaching her confidence, is by pointing out her own successes, even just little things like from when she was like 2 and going on. But I just consistently do that until she gets older and she knows what she's capable of. Like put her in her foot race, she burnt out on all them kids. Is like, I told you were fast. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting now to the point where she's been so smart, so confident for so long that I have to also make sure that she doesn't inadvertently diminish other people in her own brilliance, in her own awesomeness. And it's not to tell her to diminish, not to tell her to diminish herself, but it's one of those things where, hey, you're going to realize like you're pretty. People are going to hate on you because you're pretty, because they're insecure in who they are. You don't have to do anything about that, but notice it when you see it, right? But also teaching her, because she's my kid, hey, just because you notice something in somebody though, don't mean you need to call it out. Like,
oh man, these boys just be. You can't just say shit you think.
Right?
Who said?
Stop it. Stop it.
All right, I'm telling y'all this, and I'm clearly telling the whole world this, but she had an incident at school where to get around that, they were playing like Truth or Dare or something. She was like, I dare y'all to tell this boy how y'all feel right now. And I'm like, mother, no. And like, apparently the other kids didn't like him, and they went off.
Oh no.
Technically, she didn't say nothing about that boy.
She didn't do nothing.
But she knew how everybody else felt about him.
She wanted to come. She was being a warrior for justice and wanted the truth to come to light.
Because apparently he didn't know how he was bullying everybody.
Oh,
and so,
okay.
Screw this kid.
Yeah,
but
fuck that kid.
Hey, that's what Ava do. Fuck that kid, dog.
I know, but it's kind of no, like, because I know my son, I notice things in him that probably haven't like fully been diagnosed yet. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason why he doesn't have the impulse control that he's supposed to have. Or there's a reason why he's really good at math and science and not necessarily socially normative. Right? And so it's like when y'all eventually test him for the spectrum, don't be surprised if you see this, that, and the third. Cool. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I know you know these truths, but you don't have to say every truth. And I know you might know this, like, I don't want you to, again, diminish yourself at all, but just because something's true about you doesn't mean you have to tell everybody else. So it's like, you got 100 on the test. You don't need to tell anybody else. You got 100 on the test. You know that. You don't need it tattooed on your shoulder. Like, and it's kind of funny because I feel that way about tattoos. It's like, I know my mom's name. Why do I need my mom's name tattooed on my arm? Like, I know her name. She knows I love her. I know her. I love her. Why am I getting this tattoo? Same thing. You know you got 100 on the test. I know you got 100 on the test. Everybody else don't need to know you got 100 on the test. That's your business. All right? That doesn't diminish her. Even though her getting 100, if everybody else finds out about it, might make them feel some way about themselves. That's on them. And so that's the thing we're navigating now is, hey, You shine bright. You do your best. It's going to make other people feel some type of way. That's not your problem. But do understand that those people might try to make it your problem. And you need to be ready for that.
Handle
which
it.
is some, you know what I mean? That's some like high school level, and not even high school, because that happens in corporate world. That happens everywhere. But that level of societal intelligence is the next thing. And to your point about teaching your son how to, I don't want to say de-escalate a bully because it's preemptive, but it's that same thing, how to preemptively neutralize situations before they even become a problem. So it's like you're preparing. I'm losing the word for that. When you prepare for this, when you negate a situation from happening by properly preparing for it.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a word for it. I'm thinking of making it obsolete or whatever, but that's not what you're thinking about.
Yeah, no, I'll find it by the time, because Electric, I want to hear your.
You got to be a little more specific. My point of view to
by
what
the time
exactly? Because you said a lot.
Yeah.
Because his question was, how do we do this for girls? Because we've raised girls for.
He say he doesn't do anything different.
Yeah. If anything, I was a little more. I wanted to make it more of a point to the girl than simply because just like very pretty, and I'll bleep out her name. She's very pretty, and she has features that a lot of Latina girls don't have, which are blue eyes. So I can imagine she's going to get a lot of probably a lot of hate for that. And then not only that,
not that we're saying blue eyes are prettier than brown eyes.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just
we're not saying, but other people are.
I know. I can hear it now. People are like, oh, well, you think blue eyes prettier than?
Girls they're just gonna feel a certain way, and I've seen it growing up. Like a Hispanic girl with light eyes, like she got treated differently. Like all the boys liked her, and then all the other girls hated her because all the boys were attracted to her for some reason, right? But not just the girls, but also boys that might be attracted to her. And if she's like, no, I don't want to, do anything with you, if any guy tries to get aggressive with her as well. So I don't know. I looked at it as, like you might be getting it from all directions as opposed to my boy, where it's just, he got to really worry about guys, Girls, she got to worry about both girls and guys. So you're definitely going to have these hands, and you're going to have these feet. And I want you to know a little bit of jujitsu too. Unfortunately, we didn't get up to the jujitsu part. But yeah, there's just, I think there's a little bit more to worry about girls than it is for boys.
There definitely is.
At least from a father perspective, because a father, I mean, at least for me, it was always me taking care of myself growing up. So I looked at it as, well, like life is going to teach me. My boys are going to teach me. My dad never really was around, so he didn't teach me how to fight. I learned how to fight from all my boys. And eventually I went to training and, stuff like that. But I always felt like, all right, I'll teach my boy how to fight. That's it. Yo, just go off, have a fight. You're going to learn through experience, But with the girl, it's like, nah, I don't want her to get touched at all. So I'm going to train her all the time. And it was almost an everyday thing with her. Like, 10, 15 minutes, come here. All right, let's do our pattern. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, roundhouse. Like, I would just constantly work with her. Yeah. Also talking to her to build her confidence up. I'd stand her in front of me, repeat after me. I am beautiful. I am confident. I am intelligent. I am brave. I am loved. All right. Like we would do that every day, so there's, I felt like small things like that are very important because we live in a world where we're constantly seeing and being told negative things. And even ourselves, we tell ourselves negative things. We make a mistake. We say, oh, I'm stupid. So I try to teach the kids, don't say those words. If you make a mistake, tell yourself, I made a mistake and I'm going to learn from this.
Yeah, I tell you straight up, I never call myself stupid.
Oh, then that's wonderful, man.
You said what?
I said, I'll tell you straight up, I never call myself stupid.
When I was younger, man, a lot. quite often.
I'm
very, even to this day, I'm incredibly hard on myself. My standards for myself are pretty high, and not like in a good way, unrealistically high. And I have to constantly remind myself to give myself grace. And I see this in my kid as well too. Like, people thought in the past that we were those helicopter parents or tiger parents or whatever they're called. But those parents are like just always sitting on top. Is tiger parents like a racial slur or some shit like that for like Asian parents?
Tiger mom.
Yeah, but you know, they thought that we were like. I mean, I was told by my my son's kindergarten teacher, hey, maybe just like, you know, it wasn't offensive how she said it, but she was basically like, hey, maybe just don't be so hard on him, like, to do so well. He's doing fine. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, oh, like. And then I talked to her a little bit. She's like, oh, I thought that you guys were putting a lot of pressure on him because he puts a lot of pressure on himself. I'm like, no, we're the opposite. We're like, dude, don't. Like, I put a lot of pressure on myself. So, like, when I was younger, I used to tell myself, you know, like, oh, you're stupid. You're so stupid. I don't think I really believed it. I think I was just, like, mad at myself and frustrated myself that I sunk below a bar that I made up for myself. I was like, how dare you? How dare you be human? And I think having them above that bar to where they're confident, and it's confidence good, you know, ability to fight is good, but just that, how do you get that street mojo swag in them that like they can handle whatever without putting them in those really jacked up situations? I think that's what I'm just still trying to work on. I think I have a pretty decent plan, so I'll let y'all know how it goes.
Swagger is a good word.
I hate that word, but it matches.
Yeah, it does match. The je ne sais quoi, the charisma. I will say the other side of, because we were talking about raising girls and all of the pressures and trials and tribulations that they will have to go through and face. For boys, and especially raising a young black man, it's, you know, making sure that he knows how to navigate the world, because there's the danger that the world will see him as a threat. And so teaching him how to, you know, almost like a spy, navigate around that and move so that he is imperceptible as a threat. Because it's like, you are awesome. You are amazing. You are going to be great. But we don't want anyone else to catch wind of that until we need them to.
I like that.
And again, it's not, hey, we're not diminishing you. We're not teaching you to hide, you know, to hide your greatness in any way that, you know, cuts at your confidence. But, you know, it's like chess. You don't let everybody know your moves before you make them. So teaching that, especially when he's so apt to go off. Yeah.
All right, guys.
But I love him though. He has such charisma. Anyway,
I just wanted to talk about that and just kind of pick the brain. It's been on my brain a lot over the last couple of, you know, weeks or so, but that's where I'm at.
You know, I think what we said, when you verify that they don't diminish themselves in a room, when they are able to express their confidence without also diminishing others, it neutralizes a lot of those, you know, situations from coming up in the first place.
So I don't know how to do it, but at least that is a good enough goal. So that's how you know when it's done. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I learned 2 things today.
All right, I'm gonna take us out.
All right.
You see, I gave us the heads up this time. You ready?
Ready.
This has been the HLS podcast. Late to the party. To that point. Radical Teddy and Friends. Name pending. I am the Rebel Alliance.
And I'm Scrotawola.
And I'm Electric Thunder.
We thank you for listening, and let us know, you know, your feedback, how you do this, if there's anything we missed, because I know there's something we missed. And please correct us, because I know we said some things that we probably were wrong about. Give us the definitions. Help us learn.
And I'm Jackie. Have a good one, guys.
You still sounded like yourself on that.
Because I had to press the button. And I'm Jackie. Have a
There
good
it
one,
is.
guys.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
All right, and we're out.
Awesome.
Yenga fero kyo simiri cheta bodwa po on